There are people who can walk into a room and somehow leave you feeling tired, heavy, irritated, or strangely off balance. They may not touch you. They may not even say much. And yet, after being around them, it feels as if your peace packed a small bag and quietly left the building. Why does this happen? Why do some people leave you feeling lighter, while others seem to drain something from you without ever laying a hand on you? Welcome to the Silent Mastery. Most people think of energy as something mystical, something vague, something only spoken about in whispers over herbal tea. But let's make this simple. You may not see energy, but you live inside it every day. Everything around you carries a kind of charge. A room has an atmosphere. A person has a presence. A conversation has a tone. A silence can feel peaceful or deeply uncomfortable. You already know this. You can walk into one home and feel calm within seconds. You can walk into another and suddenly feel like apologizing to the furniture. That is not imagination. It may not be magic. It may be tension, stress, emotional contagion, body language, facial expression, tone of voice, unspoken pressure. The nervous system reading what the eyes have not yet explained. Whatever you call it, the effect is real. Human beings constantly affect one another. You absorb moods. You absorb pressure. You absorb urgency. You absorb anxiety. You absorb emotional weather. And if you are someone who is sensitive, observant, empathetic, or highly aware, you may absorb far more than you realize. This is why some people leave a conversation feeling completely normal, while others need half an hour, tea, silence, and perhaps a blanket. Some people are not weak. They are simply open. Too open. And the problem with being too open is that you stop knowing what is yours and what belongs to someone else. You think you're suddenly anxious, but perhaps you entered someone else's storm. You think you are emotionally unstable, but perhaps you have been carrying emotional noise that was never yours to begin with. You think you are tired for no reason, but maybe your nervous system has been spending the day translating tension that nobody else bothered to process. This happens more often than people think, because human beings do not only communicate through words, they communicate through pace, through mood, through posture, through silence, through attention, through intensity, through what they bring into the room before they even open their mouth. Some people bring calm, some bring pressure, some bring chaos dressed as personality. And if you are not careful, you begin to carry all of it. The mistake many people make is assuming that being compassionate means being emotionally absorbent. It does not. You can care about people without becoming their emotional storage unit. You can be kind without becoming internally crowded. You can listen without letting someone move all their furniture into your mind. That is an important distinction, because once you begin absorbing everyone's energy, you lose your center. You start the day feeling clear and end it feeling mentally scrambled. You spend time with one dramatic person, and suddenly your whole inner world feels noisy. You hear someone complain for 20 minutes, and now somehow you need a spiritual reset and a nap. This is not because you are broken. It is because the mind and body are always reading signals. Your nervous system is listening, even when your mouth is politely saying, yes, I understand. And if you never pause to clear what you've picked up, you start living in a constant state of emotional secondhand smoke. You may not have lit the cigarette, but somehow you are still standing in the cloud. So how do you stop absorbing other people's energy? First, you must understand that not everything you feel belongs to you. This changes everything, because the moment you realize that some of your heaviness may be borrowed, you stop building your identity around every emotion that passes through you. Instead of saying, "What is wrong with me?" you begin asking, "What have I been around today?" That is a much wiser question. Who drained you? What environment tightened your body? Which conversation left your mind restless? Where did you abandon your own emotional posture and begin reacting to someone else's inner storm? Awareness is the first boundary, not a loud boundary, not an angry one, a clear one. Second, slow down your internal merging. Some people do not just listen to others. They merge with them. They step into someone else's frustration, fear, sadness, or urgency, as if it were their full-time occupation. But another person's emotion is not always an invitation for you to become it. You do not need to match every mood in the room. You do not need to emotionally synchronize with every stressed-out person you meet. You are allowed to remain calm, even when someone else has decided to turn a minor inconvenience into a national emergency. That is not coldness, that is stability. Third, protect your internal pace. This is something many people overlook. Energy is not only emotional, it is rhythmic. Some people rush, some people pressure. Some people speak with so much urgency that after 5 minutes with them, you feel like you are late for a meeting you never agreed to attend. If you are not grounded, you begin to adopt their pace. Their stress becomes your tempo. Their chaos becomes your rhythm. And now you are carrying an energy that did not begin with you. Staying rooted in your own pace is one of the simplest ways to stop absorbing what is not yours. Breathe slower. Speak slower. Move slower inside yourself. Let others rush if they want to. You do not have to audition for the role. Fourth, learn the difference between empathy and entanglement. Empathy says, "I understand that you are hurting." Entanglement says, "I will now also hurt, panic, spiral, and lose my nervous system in solidarity." That may sound noble, but it is not always wise. You are not helping people by drowning beside them. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer is calm, steady presence, clear attention, a grounded nervous system. Because panic does not heal panic. Chaos does not calm chaos. If someone is drowning emotionally, they do not need you to jump in dramatically and scream with them. They need someone who knows where the shore is. That is what calm people offer. And calm people do not offer it by absorbing everything. They offer it by remaining anchored. Fifth, be careful with people who unload without awareness. Not everyone who talks a lot is harmful, but some people are constantly discharging tension into whoever is nearby. They do not reflect. They do not regulate. They do not process. They simply release. And if you are always the safe, kind, listening one, you may become the emotional airport where everyone lands their turbulence. At some point, you have to ask yourself. At some point, you have to ask yourself, am I supporting this person? Or am I becoming their unpaid emotional furniture? A little humor helps, but the truth matters. Not everyone deserves unlimited access to your calm. Some people do not want connection. They want a container. And if you never close the lid, everything spills into you. So give yourself permission to step back. Shorter conversations, less emotional availability, more silence after overstimulating interactions, more time alone to return to yourself. That is not selfish. That is maintenance. Sixth, clear your energy on purpose. Again, this does not have to be mystical. It can be simple. Go outside, walk, sit in silence, breathe deeply, turn off the phone, stop talking, drink water, take a shower, let the body settle, let the mind empty out. Nature helps because nature does not demand performance from you. Trees do not overshare. Water does not complain. A cloudy sky rarely asks you to take sides. This is why being alone in nature can feel like returning to sanity. Your system begins to separate again. You remember your own rhythm, your own breath, your own mind. And that matters, because the goal is not to avoid people forever. The goal is to remain yourself while being around them. That is real mastery. Not hiding from the world, not hardening, not becoming numb, but learning how to stay open without becoming absorbent. Learning how to care without carrying. Learning how to listen without leaking. Learning how to stay warm without letting every passing emotional draft blow through your whole inner house. This is where peace becomes power. Because once you stop absorbing everything, you begin to think more clearly. You sleep better. You feel lighter. You stop confusing other people's tension for your own truth. You stop taking responsibility for moods you did not create, and you begin to realize how much of your exhaustion was never really yours. That realization can change your life, because many sensitive people are not weak. They are overloaded, and overloaded people do not need shame. They need boundaries, space, recovery, discernment, the ability to say, "That is yours. This is mine, and I will not carry both." So the next time you leave someone feeling heavy, pause. Do not immediately assume that something is wrong with you. Ask yourself, what entered my system today? What did I absorb? What was mine? What was never mine to carry? Then breathe. Step back. Return to your own pace. Return to your own body. Return to your own center. Because peace is not only about becoming calm, it is also about refusing to become crowded by energies that do not belong to you. You do not need to harden. You do not need to disappear. You only need to become more conscious of what you allow to stay within you. That is not distance. That is wisdom. If this message spoke to you, subscribe to The Silent Mastery. For more reflections on calm, self-mastery, emotional balance, and inner peace. Standard text